hope everybody's nice and cozy. I thought that I would read you to sleep tonight by going through my books, telling you what each one is about, and hopefully you get nice and tired, and if not, hopefully you hear about a book you might like. So we're going to start my top shelf, which is my favorite mystery books. Okay, so here's the shelf I'm talking about. And these are all books that I've read that I rated 4 or 5 stars. And the reason that they're on a shelf and not in storage is because these were all favorites that I would want to read again. So we'll start with this shelf. No exit. Oh, this is good. It says 13 hours, 4 strangers, 1 missing child, no exit. She knows her odds. She'll fight anyway. A determined young woman must unmask and outwit a vicious psychopath in this tense and clever tale of suspense. On her way to Utah to see her dying mother, college student Darby Thorne gets caught in a fierce blizzard in the Colorado Rockies. With the roads impassable, she's forced to wait out the storm at a remote highway rest stop with no cell phone reception. Inside are some vending machines, a coffee maker, and 4 complete strangers. Desperate to find a signal to call home, the exhausted young art student goes back out into the storm and makes a horrifying discovery. In the back of the van, parked next to her car, is a little girl locked in an animal crate. Who is the child? Why has she been taken? And how can Darby save her? There is no way to call for help and no way out. One of her fellow travelers is a kidnapper, but which one? Trapped in an increasingly dangerous situation on the edge of civilization, with a child's life and her own on the line, Darby must find a way to break the girl out of the van and escape. But who can she trust? With exquisitely controlled pacing, Taylor Adams diabolically ratchets up the tension with every page. Full of terrifying blind twists and hairpin turns as treacherous as a slick, snow-covered mountain road, this brilliant thriller will have you on the edge of your seat and leave you breathless. gripping mystery set in London that introduces readers to a fresh, brilliant new voice in crime fiction. 26-year-old Kat Kinsella overcame a troubled childhood to become a detective constable with the Metropolitan Police Force, but she's never been able to banish the ghosts of her past or reconcile with her estranged father. Work provides a refuge from her family dysfunction, but she relies on a caustic wit to hide her vulnerability from her colleagues. When a mysterious phone call links a recent strangling victim to Marianne Doyle, a teenage girl who went missing in Ireland 18 years earlier, the news is discomforting for Kat. Though she was only a child when her family met Marianne on a family vacation right before she vanished, Kat knew that her charming but dissolute father wasn't telling the truth when he denied knowing anything about the girl's disappearance. Did he do something to Marianne all those years ago? Could he have something to do with her current case? Determined to close the two cases, Kat rushes headlong into the investigation, crossing ethical lines and trampling professional codes. But the deeper she digs, the darker the secrets she may uncover. Narrated by the unforgettable Kat, Sweet Little Lies is both a compelling police procedural and a look at how we grapple with the shadows of our pasts. So, reading that, I have no memory of what happens in this book. So this might be fun to reread. Murder your employer. From Edgar-winning novelist and playwright Rupert Holmes comes a thriller with a killer concept. The McMaster's Conservatory for the Applied Arts, a luxurious clandestine college dedicated to the fine art of murder. Prepare yourself for an education you'll never forget. A delightful mix of witty wordplay, breathtaking twists, and genuine intrigue. Murder Your Employer will gain you admission into a wholly original world, cocooned within the most entertaining book about well-intentioned would-be murderers you'll ever read. Who hasn't wondered what the world would be like if a person who is the object of your affliction ceased to exist? At the McMaster's Conservatory, future deletists, never murderers, learn the consummate execution of the homicidal arts. To this sumptuous campus come three memorable classmates: self-effacing Cliff Iverson, troubled Gemma Lindley, and Hollywood diva Doria May, all of whom have suffered menacing employers who richly deserve a deadly, oh no, I don't know this word, denouement? We're going with that. Under the tutelage of Dean Harbinger Harrow and the fascinating faculty of McMaster's Halls of Poison Ivy, they hone their craft, each hoping to finesse a perfectly masterful murder. Called an American treasure, a true Renaissance man, and a genius, Rupert Holmes brings his wickedly clever storytelling talents to this outrageous and darkly comic mystery set in a secret, idyllic world where students of all ages learn how to do in others as you would have others do you in. This one was really good. I read this last year, so it's pretty fresh. And it includes a cool map of the school. Just a cool little touch. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I think they made this a Netflix show. At least I think it's on Netflix. But it's definitely a show. I have not seen it. So it says, when you ask people what happened to Andy Bell, they'll tell you without hesitation she was murdered. No, allegedly. No, might have. No, probably. No, most likely. He did it, they say. Sal killed Andy. But I'm just not so sure. Everyone in Fairview knows the story. Pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend Sal, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about. And 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. But she can't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She knew Sal when she was a child, and he was always so kind to her. How could he possibly have been a killer? Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project. At first, just to cast doubt on the original investigation. But soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. This is the story of an investigation turned obsession, full of twists and turns, with an ending you'll never expect. There are 2 more books after this that I have not read. Lead character Alice Vega is sensational. Alice Vega could give Jack Reacher a run for his money. Alice Vega and Max Kaplan are characters I'd follow anywhere. One of the best and most original duos to grace crime fiction in many years. Find out why everyone is raving about Luisa Luna's Two Girls Down and her unforgettable detective, Alice Vega. It's a mother's worst nightmare. Jamie Brandt's two young daughters, Kylie and Bailey, disappear without a trace from a strip mall parking lot in their hometown of Denville, Pennsylvania. The devastated family hires Alice Vega, a former bounty hunter whose intellect is matched only by her relentless determination to get results. Immediately shut out by a contentious police department stretched thin by budget cuts and the growing OxyContin and meth epidemics, Vega partners with a former cop, Max Kaplan, to help her navigate the local scene. She will go to any length to follow the slippery trail of the missing girls, no matter where it leads, and to bring them home before they are lost forever. Luisa Luna is a masterful, fearless storyteller, intense, suspenseful, and deeply resonant from the first line to its riveting conclusion. Two Girls Down is a thrilling work about how far people will go to protect and save their family. The last time I lied. This was the first thriller I'd ever read, and it stands out because the ending shocked me. So this is an all-time favorite. All right, in the latest thriller from the best-selling author of Final Girls, a young woman returns to her childhood summer camp to uncover the truth about a tragedy that happened there 15 years ago. Two truths and a lie. The girls played it all the time in their cabin at Camp Nightingale. Vivian, Natalie, Allison, and first-time camper Emma Davis, the youngest of the group. But the games ended the night Emma sleepily watched the others sneak out of the cabin into the darkness. The last she, or anyone, saw of them was Vivian closing the cabin door behind her, hushing Emma with a finger pressed to her lips. Now a rising star in the New York art scene, Emma turns her past into paintings, massive canvases filled with dark leaves and gnarled branches that cover ghostly shapes in white dresses. When the paintings catch the attention of Francesca Harris White, the wealthy owner of Camp Nightingale, she implores Emma to return to the newly reopened camp as a painting instructor. Seeing an opportunity to find out what really happened to her friends all those years ago, Emma agrees. Familiar faces, unchanged cabins, and the same dark lake haunt Nightingale. Even though the camp is opening its doors for the first time since the disappearances, Emma is even assigned to the same cabin she slept in as a teenager, but soon discovers a security camera, the only one on the property, pointed directly at its door. Then cryptic clues that Vivian left behind about the camp's twisted origins begin surfacing. As she digs deeper, Emma finds herself sorting through lies from the past while facing mysterious threats in the present. And the closer she gets to the truth about Camp Nightingale and what really happened to her friends, the more she realizes that closure could come at a deadly price. I loved this one. Lock every door. No visitors, no nights spent away from the apartment, no disturbing the other residents, all of whom are rich or famous or both. These are the only rules for Jules Larson's new job as an apartment sitter at the Bartholomew, one of Manhattan's most glamorous and secretive buildings. Recently heartbroken and just plain broke, Jules is captivated by the splendor of her surroundings and accepts the terms, ready to leave her past life behind. As she gets to know the residents and staff of the Bartholomew, Jules finds herself drawn to fellow apartment sitter Ingrid, who comfortingly reminds her of her sister who vanished 8 years ago. When Ingrid confides that the Bartholomew is not what it seems and that the dark history hidden beneath its gleaming facade is starting to frighten her, Jules brushes it off as a harmless ghost story until the next day when Ingrid disappears. Searching for the truth about Ingrid's disappearance, Jules digs deeper into the Bartholomew's sordid past and the mysteries kept within its walls. What she discovers pits Jules against the clock as she races to unmask a killer, expose the building's hidden secrets, and escape a dream apartment that has quickly turned into a nightmare. Home Before Dark. Bells that ring themselves, record players that turn on and play music to empty rooms, ghosts that climb out of wardrobes. Maggie Holt doesn't believe in these things, even though they are the details of the story that made her family famous. 25 years ago, she and her parents Ewan and Jess moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. They spent 20 days there before fleeing in the dead of night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a horror memoir, House of Horrors. His tale of ghostly happenings and encounters with malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville Horror in popularity and skepticism. Maggie has lived her life in the shadow of her father's book, so when she inherits Bainbury Hall after his death, she returns to renovate the house to prepare it for sale. However, her homecoming is anything but warm. People from the past, chronicled in House of Horrors, lurk in the shadows, and locals aren't thrilled that their small town has been made infamous thanks to Maggie's father. Even more unnerving is Bainbury Hall itself, a place filled with relics from another era that hint at a history of dark deeds. As Maggie experiences strange occurrences straight out of Ewan's book, she starts to wonder if what he wrote was more fact than fiction. Alternating between Maggie's uneasy homecoming and chapters from her father's book, Home Before Dark, is the story of a house with long buried secrets and a woman's quest to uncover them, even if the truth is far more terrifying than any haunting. Okay, so we got halfway through my bookshelf, and I think we'll stop there for now. So if you liked this, stay tuned, because there will be part